Welcome to the Master Your Body podcast. This is a podcast for anyone who is interested in improving the way their body looks, feels, and moves. Working on your body can be incredibly difficult, but also very confusing and overwhelming. In this podcast, we'll separate the good stuff from the time wasters, giving you only the most valuable, useful, and actionable content to help you make progress and master your body. So whether it's building muscle and strength, losing body fat, feeling fitter, healthier, or improving your mental health, we'll cover it all here on the Master Your Body podcast. If you want more great content to help you build your body and mind, you can follow me personally on Instagram at AndyClements01 or on YouTube, I'm Andy Clements. My name is Andy Clements and welcome to the Master Your Body podcast. What is going on, everybody? This is Andy Clements, and I have a exciting, at least I think it's exciting, announcement to make about this podcast that was formerly, until about 20 minutes ago, the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. The announcement is, in a nutshell, we are changing the name and slightly the direction, not massively the direction, but broadening the direction a little bit of this podcast. And the new name, as you've probably seen already by this point, is going to be the Master Your Body podcast. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to do a little in-between episode just to bridge the gap between the Muscle Building Mastery podcast and the Master Your Body podcast. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave every single episode that we've ever put up of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast still there, all the same artwork, all the same stuff is all still up there, so you can go back and listen to the first 63 episodes as often as you want to, because there's still some awesome stuff about muscle building and some other stuff as well in that era of the podcast. But basically, we started, I started the podcast in January of 2021, January of this year, like back end of January, and we were all in lockdown at that point. We were all, with the coronavirus thing, and it was all kind of going crazy at that point, and we're slightly in a better place with all that stuff now. But I founded the podcast at that point partially as a way to keep myself busy and productive, and more than anything as a way to help men build more muscle. Some, women if they want to too, but it's primarily aimed at men, to build more muscle, draw on my experience over the last 12 years, because it has literally been 12 years now that I've been doing this stuff for. I've been experimenting and learning and coaching and doing all the stuff that I speak about on the last 63 episodes of the podcast. And I never really expected anything from the podcast. I never really expected many people to listen to it. When I can remember when the first few episodes came out, there was like 1 or 2 downloads per episode, and I was okay with that, because it was lockdown, I was doing something, and it was cool, it was novel. But fast forward to now, we're in December. This is the 4th of December when I'm recording this for you right now. We've reached 34 different countries over the world, which is mind-blowing to me. I'm just a dude from Yorkshire, dude from Doncaster, doing my thing over here. And 34 different countries have heard me talking about muscle building over the last 11, 12 months or so. Over 5,000 downloads on the audio platform and on the YouTube. We've had, I think, between 3,000 and 4,000 downloads as well. So we're getting on for like sort of 9,000, 10,000 downloads across every platform. And I know that's not, massive. I know it's not like famous or anything like that, but that's insane for me. And I'm very, very proud of what that has achieved and how many people we've helped and all of the messages that I've received and the feedback I've got, which has just been like sort of mind-blowing, because like I said, I wasn't expecting anything from this whatsoever. So first of all, what I want to say is a massive thank you to everybody that has listened, that has downloaded, that has shared, that has messaged me feedback. I appreciate it so, so, so much. You are absolutely incredible people, and I do not take you for granted. You're awesome. But secondly, this is not the end. I want to take this podcast to another level. Now we've had sort of a year of dropping episodes about muscle building and talking about all different aspects that go into that. I want to broaden this topic to help you in more and unique ways. I want to be able to help. The vision of this podcast, basically the vision I've got, is to help thousands, if not millions of people around the world be stronger, fitter, healthier, and more powerful human beings. Now, whether that's through building muscle and strength, like the stuff we've talked about already, whether it's through dropping body fat, whether it's through improving their energy and their sleep and their health and their relationships, or whether it's a mental health and mindset shift sort of thing, whatever that might be, that's what we're going to cover on the podcast. We're going to cover all of those different topics. So, what we've achieved is awesome so far, but what I want to do now is I want this podcast to be a reason that somebody picks this podcast, stumbles across an episode of the Master Your Body podcast as it is now, and says enough is enough, and says, okay, right, this guy's inspired me, I want to make a change, I want to, drop weight, I want to build muscle, I want to improve my mindset, I want to improve my health, I want to be fitter, stronger, more powerful, whatever it is. That's what I want for this show, and I hope that you are on board with that. I hope that you are excited as I am by that, and I hope that you're going to come along for the ride. So if you've listened to the Muscle Building Mastery podcast over the last 12 months or 63 episodes that we've recorded so far and found them useful or valuable or worth your time, keep listening, because the content is only going to get a lot better. You might have noticed over the last couple of months have been slightly more infrequent episodes than they were initially, but what we're going to do now is we're going to, the plan is to aim for one big episode per week, so one sort of in-depth 30 to 60 minute episode per week on one topic. So we're going to go deep on that topic. I'm going to spend a week planning it out. I'm going to get some really in-depth notes and references and all stuff like that, and go deep on each topic, hopefully to give you as much information and as much context and as much how-to and to distill it down to, like, this is what you need to do, as possible on each and every topic. So we'll be covering as much stuff that I think is useful for you as possible. But obviously, if there's something that you want to request, or there's something that you want me to talk about, or a specific guest that you'd like me to get on the podcast, give me a message, drop me a follow, or drop me a message at AndyClements01 on Instagram, or drop me an email, info@andyclementsfitness.co.uk, and let's talk, and let's get something going that everybody wants to see on this podcast. So we're going to start to release a new episode every Monday, starting this Monday. Today is Saturday night as I record this. So Mondays are going to be podcast days. So I'll be getting guests on, like I mentioned earlier. I'll be trying to get guests on throughout 2022 to share their wisdom on different areas, but primarily this is still going to be my gig. It's still going to be the sort of Andy's show. I'm going to come on and do solo podcasts quite a lot on different topics. But like I said, there will be certain guests be coming on every now and again. And if there's somebody that you want me to get on the podcast, then let me know. So until the new podcast, the first episode of the Master Your Body podcast launches on Monday, head over to Andy Clements01. That's Andy Clements01 on Instagram. And give me a follow, drop me a message, let me know what you think of the new branding and the new name. And drop me a subscribe on Andy Clements on YouTube, which is where I share most of my other free content. So thank you again for listening, and I hope you're excited about the new direction as I am. And let's do this. I'll speak to you next time. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Master Your Body podcast. Just before you take off, if you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a screenshot of it on your phone and add it to your Instagram story to spread the word. If you tag me in it at AndyClements01, I'll repost it as well. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes of the Master Your Body podcast every week, and I'll catch you next time for another episode.